Well, thanks for joining me again, Leo. It's February 2016. Dadhichi here from astrology.com.au. For those of you that are new, welcome. And just looking at your horoscope here, brief synopsis of what's happening in the heavens. Trying to get out of that typical day-by-day predictive analysis. I'd like to mix things up a little bit and look at the four main sets of aspects that are going to take place this month, in particular to your ruling point, the Sun, which rules Leo. Now transiting through the 7th house of your relationships up until the 19th. So there's a lot of focus there, but not without its problems. Having that very intense square aspect on the 7th, which precedes the new moon that's going to take place there itself in that 7th house. So there's a lot of tension going on in your relationships. You may be very militant, combative. Now, especially because these planets are in what we call the fixed signs, you may have a very clear idea of what you want. Your partner may have another clear idea of what they particularly want. And because the 6th house, the 7th house and the 8th house seem to be the main areas of focus this month for you, 6th house is your work, also relates to debts and health. The 7th house that we've just touched upon with the Sun there till the 19th has to do with your relationships, both business and personal, and the 8th house, sexuality, as well as shared resources. So we see at that point where it moves on the 19th, there's going to be a very clear refocusing of your energies into that 8th house of money, shared resources, and deeper, intimate sort of elements of the relationships. And some confusion around that because on the later in the month on the 29th, but even leading up to that, we see that rather nebulous conjunction to Neptune. Neptune can either be spiritual in some ways, but it can also create a very fuzzy sense of self-identity because it's Sun being your ruler. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention there, that full moon that takes place in Virgo on the 23rd is very much about money, and that's going to fully influence or look at that 8th house of shared resources. So what we say, the 2nd 8th house axis, all about your money, your finances, your shared resources, how you deal with those financial issues are strongly indicated. Mars, which is your lucky planet, the 9th ruler and the 4th ruler, happens to be in that area of real estate, finance, domestic circumstances. So we can see there's some tension there. And in particular on the 6th, we see a bit of intensity as well there, with Venus transiting the conjunction of Pluto. And through this period, around that time, Mars squaring your natal Sun. Well, that's going to happen pretty much for the whole month because we don't know specifically what date you were born on in Leo. That intensity, especially in your workplace, but let's just stick to the point here, which is the debt factor. 6th house can show an escalation of debts, an expenditure that's based on more fanaticism, obsession, whimsical desires that you need to fulfill. And we see also that can happen absolutely spontaneously because of the difficult aspect to Uranus in your 9th house. We see there the hard aspects to Uranus taking place on the 1st. We've already mentioned Mercury in a hard aspect, so communications can break down there, and Mercury is your finance planet. It all seems to be coming back to the monetary aspect this month. There's another square aspect there from February, from February 1st up to February 7th, with Venus in that right angle to Uranus. Venus is your career planet too, so you need to iron out the money, your understanding of what you're getting paid for what you do, the terms of agreement if you're getting into contracts, and extend that to really clarifying what it is you want with your partner over finances. You're doing things in a very, very big way naturally, but with Jupiter transiting that 2nd house, you might unleash Lots and lots of power in the local department stores, only to find yourself having to play catch up later on. Jupiter in this second house does give you an unusual and uncanny ability to sell and to earn your money through really whipping up a big story. Be careful that you don't exaggerate that. That's also sometimes a tendency for some of you born under the sign of the Leo King. We do see on the 8th, for example, some nice relationship aspects with Venus sextiling Mars. That's usually fortuitous in terms of love, but that can only be against the backdrop of that rather somber Saturn in your 5th house, which we've been talking about for months and months now, and will probably continue to talk about. I guess the theme right now is, one of them that I haven't touched on, but I may have in the past, is that continuing and really relentless transit of Pluto in your zone of workplace activities and health. An intimate link there, especially because we see the planet ruling your career, Venus there, and particularly up until that date I mentioned to you, which is the 6th. Thereafter, easing up a little bit, thank goodness. Care with your health should be taken by all means. Look forward to your company next month. There's more on February, the written descriptions of the transits, which you might like to check out at astrology.com.au. For more detailed analysis, you can always book yourself in for a reading with myself or one of the many other psychics available at the channel. And I look forward to your company next month. Take care now. Don't worry too much about money either.